Tonight, Attorney General directs Inspector General of Police to open full-scale investigations into circumstances under which 63-year-old traditional priest allegedly married 12-year-old girl, with the AG ready to commence criminal prosecutions if proven.
Babu is a deity. If Babu has, through divine intervention, taken Our Lady, who is our queen.
I have also had meetings with the traditional authorities. From here, I'm meeting the Minister of Interior and the Minister of Gender and the Regional Minister, so we can coordinate our activities on that.
We're bringing the latest as the Chieftaincy Minister meets with the Interior and the Gender Ministers. Meanwhile, the office of the traditional priest has been addressing a news conference in the last couple of hours, insisting the 12-year-old girl will not have sexual relationship with the priest, but will only serve a deity.
This is Top Story with Evans Mensah.
And the Office of the Attorney General is tonight directing the Inspector General of Police to open a full-scale investigations into circumstances under which a 63-year-old traditional priest allegedly married a 12-year-old girl. The AG is ready to commence prosecutions if the allegations are confirmed. Videos of what was supposed to be the marriage ceremony has caused public outrage. In the video, the female master of ceremonies is heard in the local Ga language, instructing the girl to dress provocatively for her husband and disclosing that the 63-year-old priest enjoys romancing his women. Medina MP and the deputy ranking member on the Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee in Parliament, Francis Xavier Sosu, and civil society groups, including the International Federation of Women Lawyers, FIDA, have all asked the police to arrest and prosecute the 63-year-old traditional priest. The 12-year-old and her mother are now both under police protection. The Attorney General's office has also waded into the matter. We have details of the AG's statement shortly. But in the last couple of hours, the office of the embattled Ga traditional priest, they have been addressing a news conference. Now, they insist the 12-year-old will only serve a deity and will not be engaged in a sexual relationship with the priest.
When we mention Babu, it is not a human being. Babu is a deity. If you want to associate this very matter to a human, then when you mention Babu, add the Wulomo. So we have the Babu Wulomo, and then we have the Babu, which is the deity. If Babu has, through divine intervention, taken Our Lady, who is our queen, then it is the deity that has something to do with our queen, and not Babu Wulomo as a person. Like people are speculating that Babu Wulomo has married a younger woman below age. Please, press, we lay it before you, because most of these unacceptable statements here and there are from the telephones of people who classify themselves as social media and bloggers. Wait until we clarify ourselves and get out of this mess, and we are going to, without mincing words, all those that have denigrated the image of the Babu Wulomo and those persons behind the scenes that want to destroy the integrity and the social well-being and, again, the tradition of the Gadangme people, we will deal with them.
Well, the Chieftaincy Minister, Stephen Asamoah-Boateng, has been meeting with the Interior Minister on the matter. He dismissed explanations earlier offered by the Gadangme Council that justified the ceremony as a betrothal event and not a marriage ceremony.
The first concern was the welfare and the protection of the minor. And that is what preoccupied us up to at dawn this morning. So myself, the Minister for Women, Gender and Social Protection, and the IGP and its commanders located the little girl. And now, as the police have indicated to you, first of all, let me thank the police. They've done a good job. They used all their intelligence reports to locate the little girl and the parent. And so she's in comfortable location now. I passed through the place. I haven't seen the girl myself, but I know the Minister of Gender saw her and the social welfare people. I have also had meetings with the traditional authorities. Indeed, when you called me, I was in a meeting with them. And from here, I'm meeting the Minister of Interior and Minister of Gender and the Regional Minister, so we can coordinate our activities on that.
Right.
So we are okay at this stage, and there's further things to be done.
Well, there's an issue here with the words marriage and betrothal. Can you tell us the difference between the two in this instance?
You see, we are all being confused by the term marriage in the sense of proper customary marriage, which is marriage, because marriage, even in customary sense, is marriage. It doesn't have to be the ordinance. And then the betrothal, which in a sense is a traditional right that a child is, and in this case, as I'm hearing, is a virgin they're looking for who does certain things that a woman who has been with a man or cannot do. So there are two sides, but from the narrative and from the videos we've seen, it appears this was a marriage with the advice of the women, the elder women, the MC. So it isn't a betrothal where there's no contact, but just do some performance of rituals and go away. That's why yesterday we had to locate the little girl. That where is she? Is she with the Ulomo or is she somewhere else? And there are further things to do. I wouldn't want to go into the details now. We want to establish that there has not been a contact, and so that then if they are saying a betrothal, then we understand. But if there's been contact with the gentleman, then it goes beyond that. That is marriage, and which the law fronts.
Right.
If a tradition contradicts the statute, we're dealing with a statute. A modern republic, we have laws. And anyone who goes contrary to the law would be brought to book.
And that there is the Chieftaincy Minister. We'll be getting an update from him pretty shortly following his meeting with the Interior Minister. My colleague joins me in the studio with more from the Attorney General's office. Kojo Brace, what is it that the Attorney General has been saying about this in his letter to the IGP?
Yeah, so the Attorney General he's quoting sections of the law that this practice contravenes. Now, he started by saying that they have heard that there's been some sort of celebration of marriage between one Numo Bokete Lawe Churu, the 33rd, and one girl, Na Okromo, age 12 years old. And then they go ahead to say, as you are aware, sections 14 and 15 of the Children's Act 1998 provides as follows. 14. Right to refuse betrothal and marriage. 1. A person shall not force a child, A, to be betrothed. 2. To be subject of a dowry transaction, or C, to be married. 2. The minimum age of marriage of whatever kind is 18 years. And then they talk about the penalty for contravention. This it says a person who contravenes a provision of section 2 to 14 commits an offense and is liable on summary conviction to a fine not exceeding 250 penalty units, or to a term of imprisonment not exceeding 1 year, or to both the fine and the imprisonment. Now, they go ahead to say the allegations, if proven, constitute a criminal offense for which all persons involved must face prosecution. We would appreciate it if you could cause your outfit to conduct a necessary investigation of the alleged child marriage to enable our office to do the needful. And then he says, please do not hesitate to contact our office should you require further information. So the Attorney General's office is really determined to see to the end of this matter. So it is telling the police, we want you to conduct investigations. If you need our help, we are there to support you. And when you are done and there's any wrongdoing, we will go ahead and prosecute.
Okay, so that is the Attorney General's office there, and it is instructed to bring in at this point that before we had the press conference today, a former Attorney General, Nia Ikotu, had penned his signature to a statement that had been issued by the Ga Dangbe Council, in which they created a distinction between betrothal and the marriage ceremony. And then I want to quote that portion, which becomes relevant here. And they said in that statement that we are inclined to side with the Bobu Wulomo since the original reportage made the point that there was another ceremony that awaited the girl to purify and prepare her for procreation. We concede that whilst betrothal could involve an underage person, it does not grant license to the person to start having sexual relationship with such a child. Now, so they create that clear distinction there. They say the council has engaged Ogbobu Wulomo himself and some of his elders, and it is important to clarify that the traditional ruler has stated that the relationship with the underage girl is a betrothal and not a marriage. I want to bring in private legal practitioner. He's a human rights activist himself, Martin Kwebu, into the conversation. He joins us on the telephone line right now. Martin, do you see any legal distinction between betrothal and marriage in this matter?
Yes, that one, Evans. You see, Section 14 of the Children's Act mentions betrothal and then mentions marriage. So we have this basic rule in interpretation that normally two different words have different meanings, unless the lawmaker says they are one and the same. So if you look at 14, it separates them, even in the subheading, in the heading, and also in the body of the section 14, where it says that a person shall not force a child to consent to betrothal, and then the C says to be married. So let's read directly. It says 14, right to refuse betrothal and marriage. So you see that the two words have been mentioned separately. Then you go on to 14.1. It says, a person shall not force a child, A, to be betrothed, B, to be the subject of a dowry transaction, or C, to be married. So you see that they've used them separately twice. So in law, we don't lightly say it's one and the same. There are so many principles we use that Parliament has perfect knowledge that the word betrothed is different from marriage, etc. I mean, I don't want us to go too much into the interpretation. But if they were one and the same, the section should have said so expressly. Then you go to the 14.2. It says the minimum age of marriage of whatever kind is 18. So you see that at that place, they are silent about betrothal. So that is where our challenge begins. That when it came to the minimum age, it gave it for only marriage, but didn't mention betrothal. Yet, we all know that a child is a child. I don't see how a 13-year-old is grown enough to consent to betrothal. So that's the challenge. So if you ask me, it's not clear. Parliament hasn't stated the minimum age for betrothal here, but some of us are thinking that since sex is near marriage, I'm not saying they are the same, but near, and then the minimum age for having sex is 16, maybe we can say at 16 a child can consent to betrothal, but certainly not 12. 12 is though there's a certain law that talks about consent. Let me be open. There is section 14 of the Criminal Offences Act 29, that says that when it comes to consent, sometimes 12 years will do, but when it comes to sex, then they say 16. So, Evans, the thought is that even though there's a general provision for consent, that a 12-year-old can give consent, that's a general provision. When they came near something that is close to marriage, and when I say close to marriage, from church, Sunday school, up to, even till date, we say sex is for only married couple, etc. So that's largely our thinking. For now, let's leave aside the fact that, the practice is different, but the teaching is that sex should only be in marriage, right? So my thinking is that if you say when it comes to sex, the age should be 16, then when you are talking about betrothal, I'm thinking that the age should be 16, not 12. But if we leave all those arguments aside, then and restrict ourselves to section 14, then an age for that consent has not been stated.
So What does that? Where does that leave this particular incident then? Because as you've seen, the AG is clear that is proving that this child was married off at 12. Then they'll go on to prosecute. But as you've heard, the explanation is that this was a betrothal. You say, and in the law is clear that a 14 right to refuse betrothal. A person shall not force a child to be betrothed. If it is established that the child was forced, that is illegal, is it not?
Absolutely. So that is the thing. So that's the consent that we are looking at. That once the child doesn't consent, but the thing is that, you see, Evans, the greater argument we want to make is that a 12-year-old cannot consent. So it means that no issue of consent should come. You see, just like if you take a 15-year-old who will be 16, even let's say tomorrow, so meaning that any seconds past midnight, even 1 second past midnight should be 16. But if you have sex with her a minute to midnight, she's still 15. So the point we want to make is that it certainly cannot be that a 12-year-old can consent.
So when the law says forced, that definitely then doesn't sound like one that was well thought through. Because if a child cannot consent, and yet the law says if a child it's illegal to force a child, it presumes, as your first argument holds, that if the child consents to be betrothed, then there's some legality there.
Yeah. So a child, yes. So you see, it's the consent that a person shall not force a child to be betrothed. So, I mean, looking at it, the thing is that at what age? At what age?
But a child cannot consent. I mean, it's that simple. If it's 12-year-old, she's a child.
Yes.
If an adult has sexual encounter with her, some may define that as defilement.
Absolutely. So that's a separate argument. So if we find that there is evidence that they already have sexual encounters, that would be a different offense. Then the defilement will come in. And that one is very stiff. The lowest a judge can give will be 7 years. That's no matter how generous a judge cannot write even 6.5 years. For defilement, the minimum is 7. So 7 to 25 years.
On the face of this, if you take the argument of the Ga Dangbe Council that this was betrothal, has this 63-year-old priest committed any offense under the law?
Yes, on the balance, Evans, yes, something is definitely wrong. A 12-year-old cannot consent to betrothal. No, 12-year-old is just too low, because as I said, the closer you see, but Evans, let's also be plain that it's a democracy. All these gymnastics we are doing, I think the best thing is just for Parliament to amend this and be very clear at what age can a child consent to betrothal, right? Yes, but that aside, it's not only about too much hard law, but also our moral compass as a society. Using the current law, when they mention sex, they say the age is 16. So there is no way to make a mockery of the law if you can allow a child at 12 to consent to betrothal. No, that would be, it would be a mockery.
Please stay with me.
A child at 12 can consent to betrothal, and yet when it comes to sex, then they say that the age you can consent is 16. There's something incongruous. And also when it comes to minimum age of work, to work in Ghana for a child under the same Children's Act is 15. So 12 cannot cut it. We use 12 for criminal offenses. That is to say, when a child under 12 years cannot be charged with an offense. A child under 12 cannot be charged for an offense. That's what we use 12 for. But in terms of thinking, maturity to do anything, they say 15 to work and then 16 to have sex.
Stay with me, Lawyer. We want to bring in right now Stephen Asamoah-Boateng, who is the Chieftaincy Minister. Mr. Asamoah-Boateng, thanks for time here on Top Story.
Yeah, thank you.
When we spoke earlier today, you were billed to meet the Interior Minister, and I believe you also wanted to meet the Gender and Social Protection Minister. Have you met them already, and what was the outcome?
Thank you very much. You've been giving me a job to run a running story and give it like commentary as much as possible. This is an unfolding story. And I would rather we get to the bottom of most of the things before I be very, very conclusive. What I can tell you is that we've had an interministerial meeting. Obviously, Interior involved because I had been talking to the police last night. So I had to talk to the minister responsible. Of course, the minor is involved. And so the Ministry of Gender, Social Protection, and Women has to come in. My colleagues at the Attorney General had to come in. So we've had a good interministerial coordination this afternoon. But most importantly, I've also had a meeting with the traditional authorities, but that's immediately my sphere. And also the known characters and Wulomo himself. And I've also been privy to know the location of the minor, although I haven't met her personally because it's up to the women ministry to do that. So I'm on top of some of them, but not conclusive. But what I can say is that we seem to be unraveling some few things. For instance, the age 12 that we were made to believe is incorrect. The child is almost 16, but still a minor. So
not 16
my
yet.
job as a government official and a public servant is to secure the welfare of a minor, which the police helped us to do that last night. And the girl is in a safe environment. This morning we checked up on her. She's okay. She's happy. She's fine. But the difference in age alone tells us there's something more we have to look for. So we won't take the word. We have to look for what's the birth certificate, for instance. Which school does she go to, for instance? So records there will give us confirmation. But those are things that we keep on doing, or we're doing.
But you've established that the child is not 12.
Sorry?
You've established that the child is not 12.
If the what?
You've established that the child is not 12, but not 16.
No, she's not 12. Certainly she's not 12.
So what
she's more than 12.
What is the precise age?
Sorry?
What is the precise age?
It's July. I can't remember the exact date, but I hear it's July. This July will make her 16, so she's 15.
So she's 15
sorry,
years.
Your line is going very, very faint. That's why I'm asking you to repeat your question.
Yeah, so she is 15
it's
years. She's 15 years
15.
old.
Yeah, 15. So whatever it is, forget about the age. She's still a minor. Under our statute, she's still a minor. And the number one job for the work government to do is to protect the welfare of the minor, which we've done. And the police have done that, and we have also made sure she's okay in a very good environment. But I need to understand the culture, the tradition, and what's happened. That's why I've met the traditional authorities, including the Wulomo. We are meeting again tomorrow. Hopefully by Thursday or Friday, we should come to some conclusion. Then I can speak firmly on what we are unraveling.
So you met,
and also we need to make sure we don't portray ourselves as not being able to handle matters like this as a state. And my job is to make sure that we are firm on the ground.
So you met the 63-year-old priest in question. When you met him, what did he tell you?
Unfortunately, I won't give you the details on air at the moment because there's some more for me to do. I'm to meet him again. And so I don't want to break the confidentiality he posted me. But I can tell you that he has his version, which I need to collaborate that because I don't take just one version. But I have to see him. It's important the actors are known to me, especially when they are traditional authorities. And so I've done that. And so I'm going back to my colleagues and be able to discuss what I have heard. And they would also, like the age, for instance, I picked up from my angle that she's 12. Then the Minister for Gender came and said, no, she's 15. So until we meet, I wouldn't be able to disclose exactly what she, because there may be a counter somewhere. And let me get to that bottom line, and then I can speak on authority.
And I know you also met with the Interior Minister, as you've explained. There are calls for him to be arrested whilst investigations continue. Will that happen?
What I can tell you now is that I would not predict what the outcome or what should be done until we've met again, because I was discharged or dispatched by my colleagues to take the initiative as the Minister for Chieftaincy and Religion, and also taking care of tourism, arts, and culture currently. to go and do my initial backroom thing, which I normally do. Indeed, I would have wished that this information or this matter had been handled by me at my ministerial level with my registrars to understand the context. And as I understand, this matter even happened about a week ago. It was only the public invitation for this outdooring on Saturday that then became known to some of us. But it started the ritual about a week ago. And the public event was documented and invitation cards went out. So there's a lot more that I need to learn quickly. And I wish I had gone in and handled traditional matters. Is not something I discuss openly on air. That's how I've been able to handle the ministry for the past year. I go behind the scenes, talk to them quietly, and say, Nana, you cannot do this. When tradition clashes with statute, I'm afraid the statute takes precedence. The tradition has to be amended. I'll tell you, amend it. And I go to the National House of Chiefs. As I speak to you now, the president of the National House of Chiefs is fully briefed. And indeed, whilst I was with Wulomo, the president of the National House of Chiefs called me and wanted to join me at that meeting. I said, no, Nana, let me come to you and brief you, then you can come in. So there's a lot of concern. We're all worried about a minor being involved in this, but it appears there is a traditional rite that has been performed, and there's no consummation of it, as we probably have heard. But as I said, that's my version I've heard. Yes. When I meet my colleagues tomorrow, we'll pull all these things together. So those who are calling for arrest and all that, I would say, hang on for a while. It's an option which is available. I wouldn't close it because that's not my job. The Minister of Interior would advise, and then the Attorney General would advise. And I'll give them the version I've heard, so we can then arrive at a conclusion. What is the next step?
What was the Interior Minister's advice when you met him?
His advice was to throw it to me to go and do my investigation. You are the chieftaincy. Things are not heard mostly on air. Go behind the scenes. So that's what I've done. That's why I said I wish that I had gone behind the scenes even a week ago, or even at the Friday, Good Friday, when the thing was unraveling on the Easter Saturday. But don't forget, part of my job is religious affairs. So that was the weekend of conventions. So I was in 3 conventions on Friday, and then 2 conventions on Saturday, a health walk in Kwu, and then back to do a tourism program at the AMA courtyard on Saturday afternoon. Then 3 church services on Sunday. So you can imagine.
And that there is the Chieftaincy Minister, Stephen Asamoah-Boateng. Martin Kpebu, the police have told us already in a statement that they now have both the mother and this child in their protection. The Attorney General has asked for investigations. Do you expect that the police should at least invite this priest in question for some interrogation and possible arrest pending the investigations, or they should leave it as it is until they have further information?
Sorry, Evans, you were asking me a question?
No, that is for Martin Kpebu, lawyer, who's on the line with me.
Yeah. Evans, I think the police know. For Ghana, by the practice, you can expect that they will call him in for interrogation even before they are done with their investigations. It is something that, by practice in Ghana, they usually do. Ghana police don't wait and finish their whole side before they call in suspects. It looks like here, they from the beginning, they need the suspect. And sometimes, even though if you copy the Americans, etc., or you follow them, they will say, yes, their method, they wait and finish everything on their side, generally, not always. But Ghana here, early in the investigations, they need the suspect. And sometimes the suspect may go and volunteer information. You've seen cases where the suspect rather even nails himself. Yes, there are a number of them, okay? So it's to be expected that by practice, the police will call him in. And that is okay, as long as they don't detain him months on end. Evans, to be clear, under the law, when I'm sure maybe we'll come to that, if you look at the punishment, if it's just a ceremony, the punishment is a fine to a maximum of 3,000 Ghana and a maximum of 1 year imprisonment. By our law, that's a misdemeanor. But since a person is innocent until proven guilty, there's no basis to keep him in custody whilst investigations go on. No. If they arrest him, an arrest can be even for a minute, 2, 3, 4. Yes, it can be that, okay, we want to arrest you so that you bring sureties. So that the essence of it is to say that in case Ulomo absconds, then the sureties will be held accountable. They can do that, fine. But definitely not the kind of arrest that they should keep him in custody for months. No, we are making progress. You remember just yesterday, the Attorney General, we got information, was it yesterday or the day before yesterday, that police should stop impounding vehicles. And it was like Christmas come early. That was so great. That was a yeoman's job, right? We want to have a better democracy. I went to court for non-bailable offenses to be declared bailable. So I'll be the last person to say, catch the Wulomo and throw him into custody for months. No. But look at all the corruption. The big people in Ghana, they are there. You've not arrested them. This small offense is what you want him in custody for. No. By our law, let's go through due process. This is not an offense that requires him to be in custody whilst he goes to court. No. But the police can arrest him for 5 minutes, whatever time, and say, okay, bring your sureties. Then they will sign the bail bond so that in case we can't find you, then they will fall on the sureties to produce him, or the law will take its course against the sureties.
Martin Pebu, thank you very much. Stephen Asamoah-Boateng, the Chieftaincy Minister, thank you very much too. What do you make of this unfolding story? 055-11-11997 on Newsnight. We start in a minute.
Ladies and gentlemen, Telecel is here! Telecel, connecting energies.
In the next 60 minutes here on Newsnight, governing MPP fights independent presidential aspirant Alan Chemanting as they condemn and demand a retraction after he asked voters to elect a Christian because Ghana is a predominantly Christian country.
As a predominantly Christian nation, as Christians, it is our responsibility to ensure that we elect a Christian leader who is also a Christ-like leader.
We have details plus we hear from the National Peace Council as they warn politicians to do their politics and leave religion out of it.
Anything that relates to religion, relates to tribe, and relates to race are three critical things that if you play with, you can create big problems for any community.
And still with the MPP, tonight they've plunged into a whirlwind of negotiations as more than a dozen contenders express interest in the Jisu parliamentary seat. Some are already beginning to withdraw from the race.
Thought that it will be appropriate to step in so that they can bring everybody together to serve the new Patriotic Party and Ashanti and the Jisu constituency.
We have the latest on the race to replace John Kuma.
And in business, prices of petroleum products could be reviewed every day as part of the new guidelines for the industry.
And in sports, former Ghana Football Association President Kwesi Nyantakyi is among many candidates readying for that seat. And Ejiso will bring you the latest from his camp.
You want to stay with us for that. Plus, prioritize the health sector amidst erratic power outages. The Ghana Medical Association is demanding tonight as it warns of a possible outbreak of diseases from decomposing bodies at the mortuaries.
Even at the morgue, bodies can decompose, diseases, outbreaks may occur. Even the children may suffer in the intensive care. The unborn babies, the born babies.
We also hear from pharmaceutical manufacturers.
We would have to let people go home. We have to cut down on production. We would have to find alternative ways of making power available. But if the cost is too much, companies would have to close.
And the Foreign Affairs Minister is tonight defending a passport fees hike despite public outcry, insisting the move is to keep the passport business afloat.
We need to ensure that we improve our services, which is why we've had to increase it. It's not because we want to impose a financial burden on Ghanaians. No, it's just because we need to have applicants pay the realistic fees.
And this is your election headquarters. It's brought to you by Petrosol Clean Fuel in full quantity, SEMA, the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, SEMA, and AICPA and SEMA together as the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants, and the German Ozone Medical Center, Alternative Therapy, Dental Wellness, and Beauty. And tonight, the governing New Patriotic Party is condemning and demanding a retraction from independent presidential aspirant Alan Chamanting for urging electorates to vote for a Christian leader. Addressing congregants of the Dr. White Assembly of the Church of Pentecost over the weekend, the former trade minister explained that Ghana being a predominantly Christian country must elect a leader who embodies Christian values. But Director of Communications at the MPP, in a statement, described the comments as dangerous. More from him and the statement pretty shortly. But first, listen to the comment by Alan Chamanting.
Resurrection should lead to transformation. We want a leader who has the vision to bring hope to the hopeless. But we also want a leader who will be a servant leader, to serve the people and not to lord over them. We also want a leader who has integrity. These were the characteristics of our Lord Jesus Christ, who today is risen. So, as a predominantly Christian nation, as Christians, it is our responsibility to ensure that we elect a Christian leader who is also a Christ-like leader. And I want to use this platform in particular to commend highly the Church of Pentecost for the role they've played in education, in health, in the economy, and also in winning souls for Christ.
Amen.
Without doubt, the Pentecost Church is the largest denomination in Ghana. With your numbers, you can determine who becomes leader in December 2024. So you have to make the right choice. When we are called to judgment, it is not going to be were you a Pentecostal, were you a charismatic, were you an Anglican, or were you a Roman Catholic. You'll be called because you stood up for Jesus Christ.
Amen.
If God touches your heart and you vote for Alan Chomating, the transformative leader, then I can assure you, as our Lord Jesus Christ on the cross promised the thief that he shall be in paradise with him, you shall also be in paradise when I come into power.
Well, the National Peace Council is tonight wading into this controversy. According to the chairman of the council, Reverend Ernest Edujemfi, it is improper for politicians to drag religion into their politics.
On the 15th of November, the Peace Council, in collaboration with the Christian Council of Ghana, the Office of the National Peace Imam, and the Catholic Bishops' Conference, issued a joint press release pleading with all political actors to refrain from anything that brings religion into the politics of our country because of the potential of creating conflict in our country. For those who are into peace study, anything that relates to religion, relates to tribe, and relates to race are three critical things that if you play with, you can create big problems for any community. And therefore, for us as a Peace Council, we have always cautioned that political actors should refrain from getting into that space because it can create problems for us. So we want to use this opportunity to reaffirm the press release that came out on the 15th of November, issued by the Peace Council, the Christian Council, the Office of the Chief Imam, the Catholic Bishops' Conference. In fact, the Pentecostal and Charismatic Council had even wanted to join in that statement. And so all these institutions are saying, let us avoid putting religion into our politics because it can create big division for us as a country. And for us as a Peace Council, we have the responsibility to ensure that we coexist and tolerate our diversity as a people. And that is why it's important to remind all political players, let us do the best we can to avoid bringing religion, tribe, and race into our politics.
Well, as this matter unfolds in the related development, meanwhile, the head pastor of the ICGC Calvary Temple, Reverend Anthony Kojo, says God will use whoever he wants to develop the country, regardless of your religion.
Sometimes you hear Ghanaians who are saying, we want a Christian leader, we want to listen. A Muslim can lead this nation and Ghana could be better. If God wants to do it, he will use anything. Why should God call Silas my anointed? Silas, my anointed. He wasn't a Jew. No, he wasn't a Jew. Silas was from Persia, those kind of people who have controlled Israel. It get to this man's stand, and God is using him to restore everything to Israel. And God said, I'm not even going to use any king that he will say, but Cyrus is my anointed, he is my chosen.
Well, as you know, the New Patriotic Party is unhappy with the comments put forth by Alan Chamanting when he visited the Pentecost Church. I want to bring in the Director of Communications for the New Patriotic Party, Richard Ahiagba, put out a statement on this. Richard, thanks for your time here on News Night. What's wrong with Alan Chamanting's statement?
Well, thank you, Evans. Everything is wrong with it, and I'm very happy that you had the chairman of the National Peace Council speak, and many other people have spoken on this matter, that clearly the comment is in very poor taste, is not acceptable, is, to be very frank with you, beneath Honorable Alan Kojo Chamanting, because I have very high regards for him. He's attained a certain height in our society that he deserves all of us our commendation and respect. But this singular comment has brought much of his achievements, personal, hard, and reputation into disrepute.
I mean, how so? He stated facts here. I mean, this is a predominantly, if you look at share numbers and percentages, it is predominantly a Christian country. That's a fact that he stated. He says, well, they have the numbers. They can decide who is the next president. They should vote for him. What's wrong with that?
Well, the point of it is, what is wrong with it is the fact that he's trying to canvass religion as a basis for voting for him. That's wrong. That's divisive. That is something that strikes at the core of the unity that is, actually held us together as a country up until now. Ghana in the sub-region, or mostly in Africa, actually in the world, is seen as one of the countries where Muslims and Christians can forge together a life in peace and supporting each other and working with each other, trying to achieve a national objective for ourselves as a people. And so to have an individual, for purposes of individual interests and personal interests, wanting to become president, to go or to aim at that fundamental reality of our society, for me, goes beyond the pale. And I've been searching since I had a comment to see, is there any comparable comment made by a politician in this Fourth Republic that can be put side by side and say, well, this is a little better than what somebody said. I can't find one, because this attacks almost everything we hold dear. It attacks our democracy, it attacks our society, it attacks our individual sensibilities as a people. Today, if you move around this country, you will go to houses where Muslims and Christians are living in peace.
Yeah, but Richard, the man was in a church. He was speaking to Christians. What else do you expect him to say?
So when you're speaking to Christians, then you denigrate Muslims.
No, he did not. Did he denigrate Muslims?
But that's exactly what he's doing. In essence, he's saying that Muslims can, whatever image he's trying to paint or to be Christ-like, it means that a Muslim cannot measure up to that. A traditionalist cannot measure up to that.
You've chosen to bring in Muslims into the conversation. He did not. He's addressing Christians, and he says, "I'm here. I'm talking to you." He's a politician. He's asking them to vote for him. You do that. You also do that when you go to the church.
How do what?
The MPP. When you go into a church
to
talk to the congregation, you are asking that they bless you. They bless your political partisan endeavors. Isn't that what all politicians do?
So, Evans, I'm not sure what you're talking about. If you ever followed MPP to go to church, we don't go to church to tell people they should elect people who are Christ-like. We don't say that. We don't say that our country is predominantly Christian. It's not true. Okay?
That is not a
that's
fact.
Not the basis. Now, let me say, Evans, what I'm telling you is that there is no basis for that point he made. Is completely reprehensible, something that ought not to be justified by anybody. What I'm telling you that he has said aims clearly at our national security, social cohesion in this country. It splits families. Families are married across the line. I am talking to you, Evans, and I'll tell you that I grew up partly in Lima, where the Church of Pentecost, Ebenezer Assembly that I attend, is in the middle of Lima Gota. If you go there, it's there. That's when we used to go to church. Whilst we were in church, there are Muslims across the street praying. When we come back home, we have dinner with them, especially now that they are in Ramadan. When they break fast, we join them and break fast. We are human beings, first of all. Our religion is individual pursuit of eternal life. That is not what should divide us. Our country, we should look for leaders who are here to fulfill our collective aspiration, not those. We are not looking for a pastor or a reverend bishop of this country.
Okay, it's still with me, Richard. I want to bring in the Deputy General Secretary of the NDC into this conversation. We've heard from the National Peace Council on this particular matter already. You're not happy that religion has been brought into the political sphere. Mustafa Gbande, do you share the concerns of the MPP?
If I want
my colleague
Richard, just a second. Richard, just a second. Richard, just a second. Let me hear from Mustafa Gbande. You share his concerns?
We don't share his concern. We think that so far, if we fail to condemn the beginning, we cannot come to the middle condemning others. The NDC spoke categorically against the effort by the MPP to turn our politics into religious affairs. You've seen the Vice President Mahmoud Bawumia himself going to Muslim communities and telling them it's time for a Muslim to be a president. Many people fail to condemn the Vice President. The NDC warned. Today, a former cabinet member, a senior leading member of the MPP, who for his own parochial interest have gone to form a political party, is leading us to a pedestrian of religious politics. The dangerous undertone, both the MPP and their baby political party must be condemned, and anyone who tries to throw the trajectory of religious politics is dangerous, is a terrorist, and has a tenacity to plunge our nation into chaos.
So you condemn Alan Tremantin's pronouncements in the church?
We don't only condemn Alan Tremantin. The Vice President also is walking on the sideline, praying religious politics, and nobody is talking about it. So Alan Kodo Tremantin is learning from Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Even last week, your station have launched the use of temperate language. Many senior functionaries within the MPP have resort to some of these languages in the last 1 month. Very dangerous trajectory. So apart from having failed as a government, this is what they are resorting to. But I think that we must be condemning all of them. We must condemn Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia for doing it earlier. We must condemn Alan Kojo Tremanti. I'm shocked that all the people who are towing this trajectory are about 50. They are short of ideas, and now they are playing a game that will, at the end of the day, destroy the peace of our nation. We condemn that, but also demand that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who started it, must be condemned in all uncertain terms.
Richard, fair point. Hello, Richard. I may have lost Richard there, but thankfully I have Courage Nobi, is the Director of Communications for the Movement for Change. That is the Alan's movement. Hello, Courage.
Yeah, hello, Evans. Good evening.
Courage, do you accept that you went over the line here in drawing religion into politics and doing religious politics purely inspired by religion? As we've heard already, the Peace Council is unhappy that politicians are drawing religion into the arena.
Thank you very much, Evans, and good evening to your listeners. I'm glad that you played the tape at the very beginning of this bulletin, where the exact words of Alan Tremartin, the founding leader of the Movement for Change, was played. To all well-meaning Ghanaians, everybody who was listening to you heard him right. He stated as a matter of fact that Ghana is a majority Christian state. That is a fact according to the census of 2021. He stated again that the Church of Pentecost is the largest church in Ghana. That is also a fact according to the population and housing census of 2021. He then stated that it is important for this year's election that we elect not just a Christian, but one who is Christ-like. That is a biblical position. That is the position of Scripture. And so he did nothing wrong stating that to a Christian congregation. Indeed, Christ-likeness or Christ-like leadership is a leadership that is based on love, justice, compassion, excellence, and integrity. I am shocked as a young person in this country that there will be any group of people, whether they be in the clergy or in the political space or in civil society, who will have a problem for a call to a leadership of integrity, a leadership of compassion, a leadership of diligence and excellence, and a leadership that is based on love.
Yeah, but courage, we heard Alan Tremartin. His only basis for asking for the Christian population to vote for him, as I heard him say, is because this is a predominantly Christian country. That clearly is divisive, because we are a country made very beautiful by the diversity of our religions.
If the call for Christ-likeness in public leadership is divisive, then probably I need to get a new dictionary, Evans.
Well, I'm not asking you about his Christ-like comments. I'm asking you about his fundamental basis for asking the Christian population to vote for him, because he believes the Christians are the predominant number of religious people in this country.
The Bible, which is a foundational document for all Christians, which are supposed to live by, enjoins us to be Christ-like and to go and advance ourselves in the direction of everything that is Christ-like. Indeed, and in fact, everything that we sought to do, that we are supposed to emulate as a society or as a part of the society, is to seek to be Christ-like. So, Honorable Tremartin could not have called on Christians to vote in any direction either than Christ-likeness. And so, for me, there's nothing wrong with it. He said it, full chest, we embrace it, and I put this on record. Any position that is contrary to Scripture, we cannot accept that as a people of Christ, as a church. He was in the Church of Pentecost, and the Church of Pentecost is a very biblical church. It's a Bible-believing church. And so for anybody who would get up and say that stating the biblical position is divisive, stating the biblical position is against the fabric of our society, is probably stating things that infringes even on the Constitution of Ghana. The Constitution of Ghana, in its opening chapter, says, "We the people, in the name of the Almighty God." Hold it. So, is the Constitution also divisive by making reference to the Bible, which is the foundational document of the majority of the people of Ghana? Not at all.
And let me bring in Richard. Richard, you agree, though, I mean, that whilst this is, you condemn this, the NDC also condemns it. The NDC makes the point that the two main political parties must apply that same principle across board, and that within your ranks, yourselves in the MPP, you must abhor the tendency for individuals, and as mentioned, the vice president, to also campaign on religious grounds.
I don't know the vice president to be one who canvasses on the basis of religion. Can you hear me, Evans?
I can, yes.
Okay. So I don't know the vice president to be one, but the point I was making earlier is that this is not about the vice president. I know my brother Mustafa would like to bring the vice president in, but this has nothing to do with the vice president. It's about Honorable Alan Tremartin, who I personally respect, and I mean that very much, has descended to a place that I think is most unfortunate. I hope that he will not go there again because the collateral is unimaginable for this country. The state, the peace of the state hangs on that. The cohesion of our society hangs on that. Our individual relationships across this country hangs on that. Nobody should take that for granted. What comment is made is unacceptable.
And you apply the same principle to anybody who dares go near the subject again within your own ranks.
Well, I'm just saying that it is not proper to inject, as much as it was not okay to inject tribe into our conversation of politics. It's about ideas. And the New Patriotic Party, we've always been about how do we solve the problems of this country. And you will never see us. We are not the first people to go low, to try to reduce the conversation to things that are not relevant to the choices that people must make about their leaders in this country. And so we reject that. We condemn it in no uncertain term and call on the honorable member who used to be a member of our party and now leader of the movement for change, which change I can't see because of the languages that are coming from there, to retract and appropriately apologize for it because he's touched on something for me that ought not to be talked about because that's the cord that weaves around our unity. And I don't think that anybody should play with that.
And Richard, thank you very much. And Musa Kwabande, do I get a commitment from the NDC too on this subject that yes, you've raised the issue about it or possibly also happening in the MPP, but your own selves, what's your own commitment to avoid politics and campaigning anchored on religious issues and factors?
Evans, you recall that my leader, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, is religious tolerant and believes in diversity of our society. Indeed, our politics today is a politics of ideas. And so the NDC will not and have not been found towing a political line that draws our religion into it. And so we will continue to stand by that and live with politics of ideas. It's quite unfortunate that our brothers, apart from the fact that they are deficient in ideas, they are also determined to destroy the harmony of our country. And that is a dangerous trajectory that we must watch them for.
And that's Musa Kwabande, the Deputy General Secretary. At least the two main political parties are united in condemning this and have made commitments that this is a subject when it comes to religion being mixed with politics is something they will stay off pretty clear of. Let me bring in right now the General Secretary of the Christian Council, Reverend Cyril Fayosi, who joins us right now on the line. Reverend, thanks for your time here on Newsnight.
Hello, Ivan.
And this must concern you greatly when you hear politicians talk about religion and they try to draw you into their political sphere. The Peace Council was warning that they should desist from doing so. But when they are invited to the churches, they tend to do this, which is really what has led to this particular debate. How is the Christian Council trying to deal with this, considering the period we are in?
Yeah, this just happened. That is, he spoke on Sunday. And, we are in the holiday mood, so the Christian Council has not had an opportunity to meet. But we are very clear on the fact that we should not vote on religious lines. We should vote based on competence, based on a person's integrity, and what a person can do for the development of the country. That should be the basis. We should vote on issues. As someone just said, it should be a politics of ideas. They should throw ideas at us, and on the basis of that, we vote. Yeah, we are not going to vote because the person is of one religion or the other.
And what's going to be the posture of the Christian Council towards politicians getting into the church and being given the pulpit to talk to congregants? I mean, the risk is if you are inviting a politician to speak to a congregation at a time when he's seeking votes, you run this risk, don't you?
Yes, we do, but our congregants and constituents also need to be educated. So, and they also need to have the opportunity to question the candidates who want to become their leaders. So that's a good opportunity for us to grill them, to quiz them, and then also to hear what they have to say, and to look at their background and everything. So I don't think there's anything wrong with them coming to the church. They should come to the congregations on Sunday to come and talk to us. But it should not be a one-way street. They should talk to us, but we should also ask them questions and look at their record over the years, what they have been able to do. How competent have they been? Are they persons of integrity and so on?
What about the fear that once that happens, which is what we are having a conversation about, they then begin to play religious politics? Christians, you're predominant, so vote for me because you can determine who becomes the next president, as Alan Chamanteng had said in the church.
I think we have a duty and a responsibility as Christian leaders to continue to educate our members so that it is not someone touting the fact that he's a Christian. That should be the basis of our vote. The basis of our vote is the whole gamut of things that the person is able to do for us as a nation. So that should be the basis. But I think, politics is always about debating the issues. And I think the church is a good platform for debating the issues. So I think they should come and let's debate the issues. Even though we run the risk of they trying to politicize religion, we must still allow them. And then after that, we can also educate our members that they should not vote on religious lines.
Okay. Thank you very much. That's Reverend Serufai. So there's the General Secretary of the Christian Council. We stay with the MPP a while longer here on the election headquarters because there have been intense closed-door negotiations between the leadership of the New Patriotic Party and individuals who have expressed interest in the Ejisu parliamentary seat to rescind their decision as the party tries to streamline the number of contestants vying for that particular seat. So far, about a dozen names have surfaced on social media with key figures, including the former GFA boss, Kwesi Nyantakyi, expressing interest in the Ejisu parliamentary seat. The seat was left vacant following the passing of MP for the area, Dr. John Kuma. Ashanti Regional Chairman Bernard Ntwi says the party has tried to persuade some aspirants to step down.
A lot of people also in this constituency thought that it will be appropriate for them also to step in so that they can bring everybody together, to serve the New Patriotic Party and Ashanti and the Ejisu constituency. Because of that, a typical example was the constituency chairman. He shown the interest, and the General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party and the former majority leader and regional minister and a lot of the elders of the region, they came to me to say that I should advise the constituency chairman for him to still remain as a chairman, so that, John was a bulldozer. So if two pillars are going, it will be a blow to the constituency. Because of that, former majority leader took it upon and the General Secretary to advise him. So it was yesterday that they came to me to bring me the final results that now he want to remain as a constituency chairman.
I want to bring in Nana Yaljima, who's been following this for us right now, joins us on the telephone line. And Nana, so who have picked form so far, and who else do we know has decided to drop out of the race?
So far, what we know is that 7 people today made their way to the Ejisu constituency office of the NPP to pick their forms to contest the election. Now, key among the 7 people who were able to pick their forms is the former GFA chairman, Kwesi Nyantakyi, also the presiding member for the Ejisu Assembly, Evans Mensah, has also picked her forms, and a 4th-time attempt now is being made by Abena Pukia Amwa Buaiti. And also we know that Kingsley Kakari Mensah is one of the people who have also picked forms to contest in the upcoming election. Now, the only person that has made it public that is no longer interested in the race is the constituency chairman for the Joseph constituency. He has now made it public that he's no longer interested. He's been spoken to, and he believes that staying as chairman of the constituency will make him able to work for the party and retain the seat. That's the Joseph constituency seat. Tomorrow, it's expected that other people will make their way to the constituency office to also take their form.
And we're keeping a close eye on that by-election. It's going to be one very interesting one for the New Patriotic Party. And as you know, this is your election headquarters. It's brought to you by Petrosol, clean fuel in full quantity. CIMA, the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, CIMA, and AICPA and CIMA together as the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants and the German Ozone Medical Center, Alternative Therapy, Dental, Wellness, and Beauty. This indeed is your election headquarters. And just before we go to the marketplace and do business, I want to take you to another market. It is a market where you find cheap prices for food items. However, the storage stalls and selling tables of these food items sometimes compete with the filth made in the trading areas. In today's Filth Exhibition series, Hanodame visited the Agbogboloshi market and filed this report.
Gutters litter in between stalls and overflowing rubbish bins characterize one of the busiest markets in the country, Agbogboloshi. Situated in the national capital Accra, the market is home for major retailing of foods ranging from onion, yam, vegetables and fruits. The extent of trading at the market brings there many loaded trucks from the hinterland with these food items. And with the many people comes with the filth generated. For yam seller Peter Akundaya, all traders contribute to the enormous filth generated in the market.
First, people used to give excuses that when the waste collectors come and then maybe they put the rubbish in a dustbin, the prices they collect is too high. So now everybody could do it individually. You sweep your portion. That one, when the person comes, you charge 2 cedis, 3 cedis. Then you know you can pay. That we think maybe the government should pay those who are responsible for cleaning the environment. They should pay them well. Then they know that the market, that place is attractive. When I do it at the end of the month, I will take maybe like 1,500, 2,000 a month. They will do it.
Acknowledging that the filth generated in the market can be better managed, Queen Mother of the market, Mabel Adadevo, tells Joy News a punishment regime has been instituted to be meted out to those who flout regulations on efforts to make the markets filth-free.
This market used to breed snakes and mice due to the filth that engulfed us. I won't say we are completely out of the woods yet, but the regime we have put in place is helping us keep the place clean. We hope to get help to make Agbogboloshi look clean.
Popularly known as Englishman, he leads the market task force with sternness as he says the rubbish causes traffic on the already congested stretch.
Because of the baller that I'm here, when I see somebody drop something like this, then I'll say, hey, pick it. What is that? Because we don't want any baller to come at the roadside. We need the road to be clean. Nobody shouldn't come and sit down there. You will sell and leave the dirty things there. Somebody may be selling paya. After he's squatting the paya, selling for the customers who will come for it fast. After that, they will leave the dirty down. Then we will clean. We may give the person to advice. The way you are working here, the way you are cutting things here, don't leave baller here. So move away. In order not to leave baller here. I have seen your face. If you make mistake tomorrow, I will catch you.
For Joy News, I am Hannah Odame.
And that is for our filth exhibition. And wherever you are tonight, if you have a situation of filth close to you, take a video of that and share it with us on our WhatsApp line 05511119997. Join this campaign. The rainy season is approaching and we need to be sure that we are not going to impose on us a very avoidable cholera that kills quite many of us. And George Jaffe is joining me with business. And George, you have a story that will strike panic in many hearts, which is that fuel prices possibly potentially going forward could be reviewed every single day.
Even the underlying word is here reviewed. It could go up, it could come down. As part of this new guideline that the NPA, as part of industry engagement, believes that it is good for the sector. Now, they think that you don't have to wait for every 2 weeks to do the adjustment. Depending on the current market development, you could review the prices, and that could go up or down. And even in other stories as well, banking consultant Richmond trying any questions the government's approach in recapitalizing banks through the stabilization fund. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business, Kingdom Books and Stationery, Syntax Tanks and Pepsodent, Charcoal and Herbal.
When you want to eat, just Momo it. Tired of the long queues in the supermarket? Pay with Momo. When you really want that beautiful new blouse, just Momo it. When you want to get a trim and get fresh to impress you know who, just Momo it. When you need to pay your utility bills and domestic staff, Shani Momo. When you want to send love to the family back home, send some Momo. Join the millions of MTN Momo users all over Ghana and live life the brighter way. So just Momo it. MTN.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kingdom Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom, and my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first point of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office, Osu Akwaje, or our office near the Osu Stadium. We're also in Tema Community 1, opposite Olam SHS, Kumasi KNUST campus, UCC Cape Coast, and now at the Marina Mall, Airport City. Or call us 0302 764101, 764209, or 762792. Visit our website www.kingdomgh.com.
Water is needed all day, all night. So remember Syntax Tank all day, all night. 7 years warranty. Select any color for free. In no the crack, in no the spoil. Call Accra on 0244 335 168. Kumasi 0505 555 666. Syntax Tank. A strong, a tough. Water is needed all day, all night. So remember Syntax Tank all day, all night. 7 years warranty. Select any color for free. In no the crack, in no the spoil. Call Accra on 0244 335 168. Kumasi 0505 555 666. Syntax Tank. A strong, a tough.
Things are looking up on this side.
When you upgrade to the enhanced GCB mobile app, you start doing more with ease.
Create a GCB instant account easily and conveniently with your GCB mobile app and start sending and receiving funds. All you need is your Ghana card.
Pay your bills, subscriptions, and fees to multiple merchants safe and secure.
Charlie, tap the app, open a GCB instant account, and experience the recoded vibe.
You're able to top up on all types of ECG prepaid meters with their special card readers and keep the power on. No worries, no stress.
With GCB mobile app, you can also generate prepaid and virtual cards to use on ATM machines, POS devices, and for online transactions.
Well, I pay my subscriptions and fees with my GCB mobile app conveniently.
GCB mobile app. Download now from Google Play Store or Apple Store. Upgrade your style. GCB Bank. Your bank for life.
Hello,
Auntie Araba. Hey, Bugger, how are you doing today? I want to buy Pepsodent Cavity Fighter, but I don't have enough money. So what are you going to do? Can you give me the big size? You know, as for me, I'll pay the balance later.
Today, no credit. I haven't sold much this morning. If you don't have enough money for the big size, why don't you try the 120-gram pack?
There's a 120-gram pack? Introducing the new Pepsodent Cavity Fighter in 120-gram pack size. More affordable and convenient. Get yours today from any supermarket near you. Every smile matters. This advert is FDA approved.
Hello, my name is Mami Akua, an entrepreneur and a mother of two. My work keeps me busy most of the time and sometimes it takes me away from my family. But the safety and health of my family is very important to me. As a working mother, I cannot afford to take any chances when it comes to matters of health. That is why I signed up for a family healthcare plan from Equity Health Insurance. My family and I have access to over 700 hospitals, clinics, opticians, dentists, pharmacies, and diagnostic centers across the length and breadth of Ghana. With Equity Health Insurance, I no longer have to worry about medical bills. Anytime a member of my family visits a hospital, Equity Health Insurance has got my family and I covered. What about you? Who has got you covered?
Call Equity Health Insurance on 050-660-7910 and talk to them about your family health needs now. Visit equityhealthinsurance.com for more information. Equity Health Insurance, here for you.
You're welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, prices of petroleum products could be reviewed every day at the pumps. Now, this is part of changes made to the pricing guidelines for petroleum products released by the National Petroleum Authority. There is more in this report.
Oil marketing companies usually change their prices every 2 weeks at the pumps. This was part of the partial price deregulation policy, which took off from June 2015. However, based on these new guidelines, this has changed from April 1, 2024. But the National Petroleum Authority was quick to add that the oil marketing companies still need the approval of the authority that change can be made at the pumps. This is to give the oil marketing companies an opportunity to respond to development like the city's performance, changes in insurance, and freight costs before the pricing window for the month ends. This could mean that price could go up or come down through that daily window is open for the various petroleum service providers. The oil marketing companies are also required to ensure that they send to the National Petroleum Authority their actual prices that they will be displaying at the stations and not the indicative prices that had been the practice in the past. The oil marketing companies are allowed to, however, give a discount of 2%, even though they are required to have the same prices in all their service stations across the country. The National Petroleum Authority had argued that the changes made to the law will go a long way to protect the consumers.
That was a Business Desk report. Meanwhile, players in the bulk oil distribution space are pushing for more protection for firms in the sector. They believe this is one of the surest ways to improve fairness in the business environment and also improve services to consumers. Dr. Kukwaji Mandia is Chief Executive of the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distribution Companies.
We need to ensure that every player within the downstream is protected, be it the consumer, be it the OMC, be it the importers, be it the refineries. And with this, I think the regulator can have some level of visibility over all the activities that are happening. And with that, they can determine who is conjuring some form of magical numbers that does not necessarily make sense, and who has set up to be in this space only to either defraud others and leave and create problems for all of us that in the near future will all come back to pay.
Dr. Patrick Okofori is Chief Executive of the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors there. Now, the former manager in charge of commercial operations at Ghana Gas Riverson Upon has taken over as the new Chief Executive of Association of Oil Marketing Companies. Took over from Kukwaji Mandia, who has retired from that position as the Chief Executive of the Association of Oil Marketing Companies. He actually assumed office today. Two other stories in the Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Ernest Addison has indicated that he expects some immediate positive impact on the economy post the second IMF review. The visiting IMF mission today began scrutinizing the country's performance under the fund program on fiscal and monetary data for last year ending December 2023. Dr. Addison has been given more details about the expected $330 million and how it could be disbursed in June this year.
From our assessment, we are fairly confident of performance at the end of December and are not expecting any surprises. If the review is successful, hopefully the board of the IMF will meet by May or June, and we should expect a disbursement soon thereafter. This time, we are not expecting 700 million. This time, we are expecting just 360, so it's just about half of what we had during the last review.
Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Ernest Addison. Now, banking consultant Dr. Richmond Ituahene is raising concerns about the approach that government has adopted and helping to recapitalize some local banks. It follows report that about 6 commercial banks have received some support from the Ghana Stabilization Fund. However, this was done through the issuance of some bonds. Dr. Ituahene insisted this approach would not meet the liquidity needs of these commercial banks.
So if you give only bonds, you are not helping the institution. What we should have done, we should have structured it in such a way that 50% cash injection and 50% bond, because the bonds are currently, Ghana bonds are untradeable. I mean, let me put it this way. Nobody in this country would like to buy a bond because of the experience we've just had over the last 2 years. So if you give a bank a bond and it cannot trade to have liquidity, seriously, you haven't solved the problem. We have done what we call creative accounting. In accounting, we call it creative. You have created as if you have resolved the issue. But if you go into that bank's details, they are having liquidity challenges. Liquidity challenges, not solvency. The solvency is there, the liquidity is there. So they have partially solved the solvency, but they have left the liquidity.
Richmond Ituahene is the banking consultant to the stock market. If you're a shareholder of Carbank, the value of its share went down by 2 pesos to close at 40 pesos. That of SIC Insurance was up by a peso to close at 25 pesos. And that's all for business on Newsnight.
Thank you, George. Let's do sports now. Ms. Bowers here with the latest.
Yeah, Evans, well, it's all about the former Ghana Football Association President, Kwesi Nyantakyi, who is saying that there is no need for him to go back to football because he has achieved everything he wanted. Now, Kwesi Nyantakyi, of course, served as president of the Ghana Football Association beginning in 2005 until the announced expose in 2018, taking the Black Stars to the first World Cup in 2006, among many other feats he chalked. Now, of course, the expose saw the man banned from football-related activities by FIFA until he was recently cleared. Now, he has been speaking to 3 Sports, where he has indicated that following all that he has achieved in football, he's turning attention to politics now and will be contesting for the seat in the by-election at Ejisu, hoping to replace the late John Kuma. And he's been explaining why he's decided to go on this journey.
From 2012 up to 2018, I instituted what was called the annual games in Ejisu, annual Easter games. And these games were played in every conceivable corner of the constituency. We had all the towns, about 45 towns. We bought jerseys, footballs, and boots for them. They played knockouts, and ultimately the finals were played in Kwaso, my place. Now, from that, people thought I wanted to be an MP, so there were representations to me, and I declined them because I didn't have time that time. So when Honorable John Kuma came as MP in 2020, we all supported him, and considering his youthful age, we thought that he would be an MP for a long time. Unfortunately, they say man proposes and God disposes. God called him at an unexpected time. So the course intensified. So I decided to consider it.
Kwesi Nyantakyi there speaking on why he decided to contest for that AGC seat. Well, at the interview which he granted earlier today at Tony FM, he indicated that he was asked to pay something in the region of $150,000 for the announced expose on him to be dropped. He said he went ahead to pay $100,000 back and forth on it, but Announce and Taga PI have released a statement where they deny all of the allegations that Kwesi Nyantakyi has made in that regard, insisting that they paid no money to him, they requested no money from him and accepted no money from him. And in fact, they emphasized that the expose was too big for $100,000. So, Evans, that's it. And I understand you'll be interacting with him shortly tomorrow?
Yes, we'll be able to talk to him tomorrow on PM Express on all matters Kwesi Nyantakyi.
Yeah,
and his political
very
ambitions.
much looking forward to that.
Yes,
very much looking forward to that.
You know, I love football, so I'm going to be talking a bit about football
Black
too.
Stars and all of that.
Everything.
Looking forward to it.
Yes, thank you very much, Bao. I still listen to News Standards on Joy 99.7 FM. Now, the Ghana Medical Association is strongly alerting of a possible outbreak of diseases in the coming days if the power situation is not immediately resolved. Now, according to the GMA, the failure of the ECG and the VRA to provide a reliable timetable to help them plan is gravely affecting their work. Vice President of the Association, Professor Dr. Ernest York, hints that most of the health facilities are currently overwhelmed, and if the situation continues, children will suffer. In intensive care unit, vaccines will lose their potency, and decomposing bodies at the mortuaries could possibly lead to outbreak of diseases.
What we need as those of us in the health space is stable and reliable power. It doesn't matter whose doomsday is worse or is better. We need stable power, reliable power, and a timetable to plan and ultimately to save lives. We're hoping that things will change, but if it doesn't, the way we're going, certainly there will be more queues at the outpatient department because the electronic management systems will be down. There may be fatalities or worsening of patients when we admit them. Surgeries, we know the obvious consequences if lights go off during surgery. Even at the morgue, bodies can decompose, diseases outbreaks may occur. Even the children may suffer in the intensive care, the unborn babies, the born babies. And again, linked to the children is vaccines, because you need a cold chain to preserve the potency. So if they lose that cold chain, they lose its potency, you cannot vouch for its potency to be able to prevent the disease that they want to die.
And soon we'll be launching a series, the Doomsday Diaries. We want to hear from you how this is affecting you wherever you are across the country. Now, the Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, Shirley Ayokoboche, says her outfit has no intention of inflicting additional financial burden on Ghanaians following her outfit's latest decision to increase passport application fees. The fees have been raised from 100 cedis to 500 cedis for the 32-page booklet and 644 for the 48-page booklet under the standard service. For those who want expedited service, they will pay 700 cedis for the 32-page booklet and 800 for the 48-page booklet. But following Parliament's approval of the fees, many citizens feel the hike will only exacerbate the financial burden and have called for a downward review of the prices. But supporting the call from the public, ranking on the Foreign Affairs Committee, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, says the sudden hike is unfair, announcing plans to summon the minister when the House reconvenes. We've been hearing from the minister today, and she disagrees that the move it will burden Ghanaians. She insists the hike will make it necessary for the passport office to be efficient.
Ghana's passport costs $8. The next country within our region of West Africa is Liberia, which costs $40. Government spends 400 cedis on every passport that we give out. It means that the passport applicant pays 100. The government absorbs, the state absorbs 300. It cannot be the case that it will continue because it is affecting even our operations. And Ghanaians are complaining that, the service, it takes long to get a passport and all of that. If government is subsidizing heavily passports, it is difficult to provide any good service to Ghanaians. We are the lowest, $8, the equivalent of $8 to acquire a passport. And today, as we speak, we have the national identification that is working very well. So that's our primary source of identification, no longer the passport. And even those who have the Ghana ID, the national ID, can travel into the country with it. So then I'm asking humbly Ghanaians that please, if you do not have need for a passport and because you cannot afford it, please, humbly, I'm asking you not to go for a passport.
Do you have a passport, Peps?
Yes, I do.
You do, okay. How long ago did you get it?
Just about 2 years ago.
Oh, 2 years ago. That was your first passport?
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
It was like my second, yeah.
You don't mind paying 600 CDs for it now, do you? You're not sure?
No.
Oh. Well, you have to brace yourself for this now because it's come to stay, as you had the Foreign Affairs Minister say. If you want the standard one, you're paying 500 CDs for the 32-page one. For you travel a lot, so I'm pretty sure you'll probably go for the 644 CD one and possibly expedited service, right? So you're talking about what? 800 CDs for the 48-page one.
I think maybe I'll just apply way ahead of time so that I'll not need to expedite the process.
Okay. What are you talking about on Geek Squad tonight?
How fluent are you when it comes to your local language? Are you able to write and read it fluently?
I speak fluently. I write it okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Today we are looking at using AI to transform learning languages.
The AI, does it understand Mayokomi?
By all means.
Really?
Yes, we have to just stay and listen to us.
You
can use it to learn the local languages.
We'll figure out what I mean.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Which of the AI tools?
That's why you need to listen to.
I'm fascinated. I'm
Exactly.
staying tuned for this.
Yes, please, you have to.
Okay, but you understood what I said, by the way?
Yes.
What did I say?
You eat kinky.
Okay, that's what call me. Everybody understands that.